Craig, great to see you here at Trent Bridge as we wrap up the Blazers season for a month now. It's fair to say it's been strong so far, Vitality Blast Finals Day and third in the Metrobank One Day Cup. What's your take on the last 3 months?
Yeah, it's a good time to probably sit back and reflect. It's gone pretty quickly and it's been pretty full on, and obviously you go back to Finals Day and again we came home and then got on the bus and went down to Southampton for a 50 over game. So now it's been a bit of a time to sit back and reflect, and I suppose we had high hopes, especially going into Finals Day. We'd played some really good cricket. We qualified second behind Surrey, who we beat once, and they beat us once. So we had some pretty good confidence. But yeah, we just unfortunately probably didn't play as well as we liked. The Bears have been a good team. They've beaten us as well in that competition. So when we look back at that, I think it hurt us a bit. Probably because we didn't probably fire in some areas. But you've got to give them credit. I thought they played really well. We had them under pressure early. With the ball, we had a DRS decision which we haven't had during the competition, and ALBW turned over, which is fine. We got the technology, but we could have had them 2 for 9. But we probably just let them score too many on that surface, and then I thought they bowled exceptionally well. They put us under a lot of pressure, and yeah, we back ourselves in that situation. But we're going to learn some good lessons about probably adapting and probably being able to hold our skill a little bit longer. So. Didn't have time to really sit back too much after that. We were back on the bus and do a 50 over comp, but there's a lot of really good things over that competition that we should be really proud of. We're really pleased of, but I think it's probably highlighted some key areas that we need to get better at and more consistent with. And the competition is really going forward when it comes to the skill and the standard, and we've got to make sure we work hard to be able to stay with that. But also, if we want to win that competition, you've got to be the best. And you've got to give to Surrey though; they have been the best team all year. They've played a very entertaining brand of cricket. They've been highly successful, but most importantly they've been consistent. So they deserve to be there, and now it's our job to go back and work out what we need to do to be at the top of the pack.
Yeah, when we spoke to Sarah Glenn before Blast Final Day, she mentioned that there were a few bits of experimentation going on and a few different ideas being tried during the Blast Group Stage, almost to try and prepare us for finals, given the target that we'd set ourselves as defending champions and we wanted to be there again. What were some of the ideas that you were trying to bring to that group in terms of making those changes?
I wouldn't say so much experimentation. I know Sarah had some personal ones, maybe the different places that we look to bowl people. It's more about experiences. I think through a round robin phase you're trying to make sure that you're making sure you've had experiences and you're trying different things because you're going to be challenged in different ways. And every team challenges you differently throughout this competition. They have strengths, so you've got to be able to know that you've got the answers to those challenges. And for us that's what it's about, is making sure you're really well prepared, and you, more than anything, you back yourself. So if you want to give something a go, or you're trying something, or you've been working on it, you actually back yourself, and that's the game. You've got to be ahead of the game, not behind the game. So it wasn't so much experimentation. We still turned up every game to put our best 11 on to be successful that day against the opposition. I think the biggest change that happened was probably the conditions. We had very flat pitches at the start of the comp. High scores, we chased down 188, I think, up in Durham, setting records. And then the pitches dried out and they started to turn and hold a wee bit more. So it was making sure that in your toolkit you had the skills to be able to adapt to different things with the ball. But also, most importantly, probably when you're batting, because that was the biggest change. So, we certainly weren't just trying different things to try and see where we got to. We were trying to be experts in a whole lot of areas, and we got really, I suppose, we did well in a lot of areas, but it showed on Finals Day that there's some key areas we probably need to get a little bit better at.
Do you think that one of the key things that's driven this side to the success that we've had so far this season has been the fact that a lot of different players have put their hands up at a lot of different times?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and even now we've had a slight change. When the start of the year we had a few injuries, we had England players available, and then throughout the competition we've actually had players who have come back to fitness. So, we've got players pushing for spots and we're challenging for spots. But definitely. I mean, when one day cricket is actually a team effort. One player doesn't just make an impact. You've got to have a collective group working together. 50 overs in the field. Bowlers need to bowl in partnerships. We need to have more than one performance with the bat, so you need more players standing up. Whereas, in the Blast year or 2020 cricket, one player can change the game. We saw that with Wong getting 4 wickets, 1 over. She walked off after her first over with Tammy Beaumont and Catherine Bryce in the wickets column. That can make a difference. So you've got to have more people performing in the 50 over. But we back player 1 to 11 or 1 to really 17 in our squad. So if they get that opportunity, they go out and make the most of it. So that's one of your strengths. It also creates challenges because you've got to make sure you give players confidence with selection and make sure you do those things that you're not always chopping and changing. So you've got to give consistency of roles and making sure they can perform in those roles.
We've got plenty of senior players in the team as well, but obviously we are quite a young side, particularly in the bowling department. Now, what are maybe some of the benefits of having a younger side, but also from a point of view, maybe a more longer term point of view, do you think it's a really positive thing that this side can keep getting better together?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think, you look at the bowling and, probably one of the highlights of the campaign was Cassidy McCarthy and her emergence. From being in the Blaze for a couple of years, but now getting regular opportunities and then performing, but also performing at the highest level. You're right, we've got a young bowling attack, but someone like Grace Bollinger's, she's 23. Grace feels like she's been around forever. You've got Charlie Phillips, and then we've got a couple of young players, Olivia Baker and also Amy Wheeler, who didn't get opportunities yet. So, it's young, but it's growing, it's learning, and then you throw in with the spin. But you've also got that nice experience too where, we've got, with Kirsty captaining, Lucy Hyam came back and was fit, having Sarah Glenn, Josie Groves is still just a, youngster who's forging away, but huge amount of potential. So, I think, our bowling stocks for the future are really exciting, and we've just got to keep helping them grow, understanding the development, because it's so tough. Like a bowler and even both forms of the game now, it's a scary proposition. You turn up, your batters are looking to come after you from ball 1. So it's a really challenging thing, and we've got to give them time to grow and develop and, fail, but that's the game, and then also help pick them up and teach them. And I thought this year that was one of the highlights for us was the way we bowled.
When you came into this job at the start of the summer, how would you have described your coaching approach, maybe from a personal point of view? And then has that changed in any way in the 3 months you've spent in England?
Good question. I'm a relationship-based coach, and I like to get to know the players. But then, I think, over the time, I'm sort of a coach. I think I'm happy to see development through experience, good and bad, and being patient and letting players try and work things out for themselves, but get to understand how they learn. And I think, if we have an experience, whether it be positive or negative, I think it's a good thing. And sometimes negative experiences, losses can be a good thing, because then you learn or you understand what you're trying to do. Maybe for me it's also, like a player, it's having confidence in my ability to understand what I do well and actually not enforce it, but actually trust it. And I think sometimes you can, you're trying to appease everyone, but you're trying to learn the people as well. And I mean, when I started, it was very much everything was happening quickly, and this will be a nice month to sit back and probably take stock myself personally and go, right, what do I think I've done well, but what are some of the key areas that I think I can improve on, but also what are some of the key areas that I need to do, and maybe be a little bit more, not so much forceful, but a bit more direct, because and just trust my skills and trust my confidence, just like a player. But I think we're in a good position. I think, obviously the blast is gone and we can't change that, but we had a little hiccup yesterday against Hampshire down in Southampton, but they played well. I think we suffered from a little bit of fatigue, and we need to be better than that, but a chance for the regroup in September, and then we've got 3 weeks to push the go button, and just say, right, we're going to be as good as we possibly can be for this 3 weeks. And I truly believe our 50 over game we've made huge improvements up until yesterday around the tactical side of the game, and the way we played that. So, I'm really confident we can finish strong.
Yeah, finally, you've kind of already alluded to it there, but obviously, as we said before, we've got a month off now for the 100. What are your plans for the break? And I suppose from a personal point of view as well, will it be nice to sort of get away from how intense the schedule is at certain times? Yeah,
it's been really full on. I mean, that's one of the things I've probably learned. And, talking to Luke Fletcher, who's been part of what's behind us, he said, it's called the county grind. And it really has been. You really move quickly. It's quite hard sometimes. I think you don't, about staying where your feet are, because you're already, you feel like you're always picking a team. You're always notifying or talking to players. So it'd be quite nice, just one, not to pick a team for a month. Two, I'm looking forward to watching the 100, being present around and just watching it and seeing the game. But a real good chance to just sit back and probably reflect on the last 3 months and go through the notepad. There's a lot of writing on certain things. Some of it I can't read. I can't read my own writing. But yeah, just with the other coaches, take stock and go, right, what are our focuses are going to be for the next 3 weeks when we come back? And more importantly as well, we've just got our wider squad, the ones that aren't in the 100, get a chance to work closely with them, and then hopefully connect well with Kane, and then do some work with the academy too, and just do a bit of coaching without any responsibility as well, which will be really nice. So yeah, but the goal is to use this time to work out what we need to do in that last 3 weeks, and as I said, we push the go button. I think we can have a good end to the season.